Hello, I'm Miss Joyce from the Euclid Library, and I'm here to share a STEAM activity with you. Today we're going to talk about items that float or not. They float when they're buoyant, and buoyant just means the ability to float. So let's see which items are buoyant. All right, I'm going to start with some summer fruits. The first one is a blueberry, teeny tiny. Think it'll float? Seems like it should. And it does. It popped right back up there. Okay, and then I also have a strawberry. It's a big strawberry. It's quite a bit heavier. Do you think it's going to float or sink? Let's see. Oh, it floated also. Let's see if I just drop it in. Maybe it'll just, splash, but it's still floating. Okay. So the strawberry was floating and the blueberry was floating. How about an orange? What do we think? Is it gonna float or sink? I'm not gonna drop this in because it'll make a big splash, but there it is. It's obviously very buoyant. It's bouncing up and down and floating on top. Okay, who knew? All right, so the orange does that. But let's see what happens with, I peeled an orange. So I took off the peel. This is the inside that's good to eat. Let's see what happens. You think that'll make a difference? Let's see. Well, it started out up on top but went right back down. So obviously it is not very buoyant. So that's kind of funny because it weighs less. You took the skin off, so it's lighter. But the reasoning is this skin on the orange is very porous and has little air pockets that help it float. And that displaces all the mass that this does not. So there you have it. That's quite an experiment, something you can try at home. You can try other things, everyday objects all around the house. I have a cork from a bottle here that will float. There's other objects too. You can take a paper clip and see if it'll float. You think it would float? It's pretty teeny, but if you drop it in, it goes right down. But if you want to try something magical as an experiment, you can take your paper clip to get it to float. You can take a larger or even a regular size paper clip, but I used the larger one so you could see it better. But I bent it in half so it makes like a little holder. And then if you place this on top, just like that, and then lower it into your water and keep lowering it, and it will float on top. I know you can't really see that here, but if you try it yourself, I think you can do it. It's pretty cool. So those are some ideas. You can try other things at home also. Lots of everyday objects. Guess ahead whether you think they're going to float or not. The next thing I wanted to try with you is something with glasses of water and some eggs. Okay, or an egg. So I'm going to take the water. Do we think eggs float or sink? Let's see. All right, let me put this in here, see what it does. No, it sunk. Okay. Then let's try my other part of my experiment then with this egg is I'm going to take a cup of water, and I'm going to take a tablespoon measure, and I'm going to measure in here 4 tablespoons of salt. So 1, 2, 3, doesn't have to be exact, 4. All right, and then we're going to stir it up. It's very cloudy, very salty water. Do you know where we find salt water? Naturally in the ocean, but not in Lake Erie. All right, so here it is, and then I'm going to pour in a little more water just to top it off. It's very cloudy. All right, and then we're going to put our egg in here and see what it does. Ooh, look at that. So salt water obviously behaves very differently than plain water. So there's the egg sitting up on the top. And if I take that egg out, put it back in our regular water, it sinks right back down. So that's another fun experiment to have at home. And then lastly, something else I thought you could try to do if you'd like is to take, I have a bigger, just so you could see better, but I took a piece of foil, any size piece of foil, and make a boat. So I made a little boat here, and all I really did was fold up the sides to make it hold something to look like a boat. So it's not a very pretty boat, but it's my little boat. But if I put it in, it floats. There we go. Okay. Then I just thought what we could try to see is what can we put in there to make it sink? How much to take it to sink? So I went around and I found some coins that I have, and I just put a few in here, and I go, let's just see what happens. So I don't know if we want to guess. We could guess how much money it would hold. I don't really know, but I'm going to put in a penny. Works just fine. Here's another penny. Perfect. Now I also found, what if I put in a quarter? A quarter is much heavier. So let's put in the quarter. Oh, it's still floating. There it is, still floating. And I have a nickel. The nickel's pretty heavy, not maybe as heavy as a quarter, but it's still floating. And then another penny. And let's see if we put in this quarter, if that will sink it. It did. So there it went down. All right, so our little boat held. Let's see how much money is this. Let's see, we had a quarter, it's 25, and another quarter is 25, and 25 is 50, and a nickel is 5, so 55, and 3 pennies. So 55 and 3 is 58 cents in our little. Now I bet if you took different combinations of coins, you could get different amounts. The other part of this that I thought might be interesting to try is I also made a bigger boat. So this one was a bigger sheet of foil versus the other one was a smaller sheet of foil. But here's my bigger sheet of foil. Do we think that this will hold more than that 58 cents? Let's see. So it's floating. Let's put in the quarters. 1, 25, 50, 55, 56, 57, 58. Ha, it's still going. So let's see, what else do I have? I have another nickel. Well, another nickel, 58, 63, 64, 65. It's still going strong. I got a dime, which doesn't weigh very much, so then I'll make it 75. I don't have any other quarters though. We'll do some more nickels. So here we have another nickel. That's 80, 85, 90, 95. Oh my, I'm gonna run out of coins. 95. And then I have 3 dimes, so 95, $5, $15, $25. It's still floating. $26, $27. Wow, I wonder how much more it will hold. I'm run out of coins, so that's all we're going to do for today. But I hope you learned some things that you could try at home. You can also, if you're outside, you could do any of these things outside, but you could also try some items you might find outside. But it's fun to experiment and see what you learn. All right, take care.